Okay, so today we are going to be talking about adding and subtracting integers. Excuse me. So we only have one vocabulary word today, and that is additive inverses. And additive inverses are two numbers whose sum is 0. So for example, if we had um, negative 12 and positive 12, so we have negative 12 and positive 12, and we were to add them together, it would equal 0. All right? They sort of cancel each other out. So um, think about how additive inverses work while we are going through the lesson talking about adding and subtracting integers. So we are going to start first with adding integers. And adding integers basically has to do with the number line a lot. So if we take this first example, we have 3 plus negative 5. So what we can do is we can actually start at 3 on our number line. And when we're adding negative numbers, because when we normally are adding two positive numbers, we keep getting more positive. When we're adding a negative number, we start to go negative. So in this case, we are going to be adding negative 5. So we're going to be going 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we end at negative 2. So when we um, put 3 plus negative 5, we are actually getting negative 2. All right? Um, our other example is 8 plus negative 4. And same exact thing, we can start at 8 and we can go add negative 4. So we can actually go toward the negative side. So we can go 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so then our answer is 4. Now what I want you to notice is that even though we have a problem that involves a negative sign, in this case the answer is still positive, and that will happen. All right? So the next thing we're going to talk about is subtracting. Subtracting integers. Now subtracting integers has one rule, and it's commonly called adding the opposite or leave change opposite. Leave change opposite, and I'll write that down. So leave change opposite. And it is exactly the way it sounds. When you leave change opposite, you are actually taking the problem. So for example, we have 4 minus 5. And 4 minus 5, the way we know how to leave change opposite is we um, are taking 4, changing, leaving, changing, and then doing the opposite. All right, and that's how we're getting negative 1. So in this case, we have negative 2 minus negative 3. So instead of doing, so we're leaving this first sign, changing the middle sign, and creating the opposite of this one. So in this case, our problem then becomes negative 2 plus 3, which equals 1. All right. This is also very useful when we have a problem with a negative number in front and subtracting a positive number. In this case, we can leave the negative sign in the front the same, change the middle sign, and then the opposite of positive 5 is negative 5. Negative 5. So then our problem becomes negative 14 plus negative 5. So in this case, if we were to go back to the number line, we could just think about starting at negative 14 and be going more negative. All right, so let's do some more examples. So what I'd like you to do is in your notebook, try and figure these out. Pause me for a second and try and figure out what 4 minus negative 6 would be, what negative 3 minus 8 would be, and what 16 minus negative 7 would be. Okay, so I hope you paused me and figured those out, but we are going to correct them together. So I have my little math man, and we're just going to go over and see what the answers are. So we have 4 minus negative 6. 4 minus negative 6 is positive 10 because we leave, change it to a positive, and the opposite of negative 6 is 6. So then the problem would become 4 plus 6. All right, our next problem, we have negative 3 minus 8. So then we are leaving the negative sign the same, changing the middle, and the opposite of positive 8 would be negative 8. So in this case, we are then adding together negative 3 plus negative 8, and that would become negative 11. All right, and the last one, we're leaving the positive 16 the same, changing the subtraction sign to addition, and then doing the opposite of negative 7, which is 7, and we would get 23. All right. So if you feel like you need some extra practice, here's another type of practice you can work on. They are bigger numbers, but don't make that a big deal. It's just it's the exact same concept, just with larger numbers. So if you want some more practice, and I would recommend doing these 3 problems in your notebook before you summarize the video today.